the best singer-songwriter among male seiyuu. Fan of dark compositions, creator of enigmatic lyrics and somber, emotional performances, Soma Saito has made a big name for himself, having a solo career that is all about little to no promotions and introspective music with a layer of nostalgia. However, what enabled him to kick off his solo career was his track record of outstanding performances, tapping into his wide vocal range and using a wide variety of techniques, a result of his vast musical plus art sensibility and perfectionism. Being a vocal chameleon has opened the doors for him to now being one of the best solo artists among seiyuu. In this episode, let's talk about the vocal chameleon Soma Saito. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is vocal chameleons among male seiyuu. Soma Saito. As mentioned in the intro to this episode, Saito is regarded as one of the top singers among male seiyuu, as well as has established himself as the best singer-songwriter among seiyuu. He's a one-of-a-kind talent still with a high ceiling when it comes to uncovering how wide his vocal range is and what Saito can do on the vocal end, adding up to everything he can already do. Let's check his path and what makes him a vocal chameleon. Path in the music industry. Saito announced his solo debut in 2017 with Sakura Music, a division of Sony Music Japan. He released the single Fish Story. When promoting this release and on a post on his personal blog, he mentioned that he wanted to rebel against today's pop music, presenting an eclectic and rich sound with 3 distinct tracks included in the release. Not long after the first single's release was announced, Sakura Music made yet another announcement. Saito was to return with a second single in September 2017, making the best use of the momentum he got with the first release as well as the hype surrounding him. Yoake wa Amada Hikari Tatsuame was featured as the opening theme for Katsugeki Touken Ranbo. If his debut single ranked high on Oricon, this one ranked even higher in what was a mix of high-quality music, newfound popularity, raving reviews, praise by music specialists, and exposure to the masses that watched live the episodes of Katsugeki Touken Ranbo without skipping the high-tension intro credits. No one was expecting the impact Date would have upon release or how it would sound, with Saito handling every little detail about his music. This was the turning point in his solo career. He wrote all the lyrics and composed all the songs in this single. And by doing that, he strayed further away from pop music. Saito had a completely different approach to his music and where he wanted to take his solo career. He embraced his indie rock, shoegaze and funk rock roots to craft an outstanding single praised by Japanese music review outlets. Saito showed that he wasn't just another seiyuu turned solo artist trying to earn extra income by promoting himself as a singer. He showed that he's much more than that by displaying his vast knowledge in music, crafty songwriting skills while tapping into a part of his vocal range that, up until then, he hadn't had the opportunity to showcase. Saito mentioned in a long interview with Animate TV that his work as a seiyuu, singing as different characters, embracing and adapting to different techniques for each performance, helped shape and hone his singing skills. However, even after 2 successful single releases, he felt like he still hadn't found his own voice. With Date, he mentioned that he felt like he'd found a common ground for him, a voice of his own, making the performances in Date unlike any performance he'd shown before. It was Soma Saito as himself, not a product of a music label crafted to suit a predefined image. With so many changes to his sound, Date was far from being a tailor-made single for fans of his previous singles. rock, funk, acoustic replaced pop, rock and electronica, showing a matured artist in Saito. Quantum Stranger impressed music magazines, his fans, as well as people that don't usually follow anime or seiyuu, but have found themselves curious about this release. Out of the 13 songs, he composed and wrote lyrics to 9 of them, showcasing his songwriting skills in a wide variety of music genres and exploring a variety of themes, all connected to a common main theme. The album broke a couple of records among male seiyuu artists, including the sales record, and was met with plenty of praise, with several accolades on the music charts in Japan. Interestingly enough, Saito and his composer and band leader Saku headed to the studio during the summer of 2019 to work on his new demos, including piano and guitar work, and polish it into what would be his first EP under the themes of dreams and reality. My Blue Vacation. Epilogue was released in March 2020 and it was beyond anything previously released by himself. It was the end of a chapter of Soma Saito's solo career, the beginning of a new one in which he would be the sole composer and lyricist for his music, going down a darker and more introspective sound. In the summer of the same year, Saito released a trilogy of singles under the theme of changing seasons. Those singles would end up being the trigger for Saito to release his second full-length album, and currently the best album released by a male seiyuu artist, In Bloom. The album was yet again met with critical acclaim, the unique compositions, the haunting lyrics, his clean singing and varied techniques. The whole experience listening to this album was something that no other seiyuu had managed to pull off before. 2 years passed and Saito was back with his second EP, My Beautiful Valentine, and the emotional blow was even stronger as you're taken through a surrealistic soundscape and have your emotions and expectations picked apart and handed to you with a punch that will leave you with a mouth ajar for how genius Saito is. For this album, Saito started to focus a lot on falsetto, a strength of his, mixing it with variations in tone and vocal range, making it quite eclectic even on the vocal end. As far as his solo career goes, Soma Saito has one of the most creative and exciting ones, always pushing more and more for his vocals at the same time that he comes up with mesmerizing compositions that always deliver an emotional punch to the listener. Style and singing skills. As far as Soma Saito's singing style goes, he's a big fan of full, crystal clear notes. This is something that right off the bat makes him stand out among other male seiyuu. He is crystal clear at all times. Perfect diction and enunciation at all times. It's impossible to say you can't understand what he's saying. He's that clear. And that is something he consistently brings to his performances. He's not a flashy singer, however, depending on his confidence on stage, that can waver a whole lot depending on the project, he may ad-lib and take his performances to levels no one expected or anticipated for those songs. So while not a flashy singer, he likes to impress on stage, usually by playing around with his range and ability to chain multiple rises on the scale within the same breath. Composed at all times and with a seemingly cold exterior as a solo artist, is actually the type of performer that the more he sings, the more comfortable and open he is to the crowd in front of him. And his passion shows in the way he performs. When it comes to the singing skills, Soma Saito is a clear, high tenor with a natural singing tone that is a gentle mix between baritone and tenor. Yes, he does have a rough, lower edge to his singing voice, something that has been showing in the last couple of years. Initially, Saito had a rather high singing voice and struggled a lot with his confidence. With time and more freedom as an artist, Saito grew into a powerful, passionate and technical singer as fans now know him. Vocally, he has undergone several changes, both in his tone as well as his technique. Since 2010 and especially since 2016, his vocals have matured and sound much deeper in comparison to his register in his debut days. Over the years, his tone has evolved and seems to have stabilized into a rich tenor with a unique baritone edge to himself. When it comes to his technique, he's a completely different performer in comparison with his debut self. Saito has one of the most versatile registers among male seiyuu, with careers active in singing, showcasing a wide vocal range that goes from low, growling vocals, screamo, both low and mid-toned, for baritone to powerful high notes, some of those in an incredibly high key, tapping into female vocal register, as well as highly skilled with falsetto. This is a technique he is mastered and makes use of quite frequently. In some of his performances he's used vibrato, but it is something that he won't commonly add to his performances as it is not natural for him. Being the perfectionist he is, he started to learn how to master his vibrato in order to deliver fuller, richer, and more mature performances, suiting his complex sound as a solo artist, as well as the growth the characters he voices in 2D groups have undergone. R&B riffing is something that only recently he has started to showcase. Another thing he has been impressing everyone with are his crescendos and legato. Those paired up with his ability to perform the full choruses in falsetto or head voice make him quite the lethal singer. 2D groups and how he adapted to those. When it comes to 2D groups, Saito is one of the busiest seiyuu. His versatility and consistency as a singer, allied to his ability to voice all types of characters, make him a sound choice for any 2D music project. Over the years, he's joined 2D music projects exploring different music genres: pop, EDM, rock, visual kei, R&B, enka, hip-hop, punk rock, funk, jazz, ballads, and many more. He fits every single music genre, however, as of late, 2D music projects have been casting him as characters that are either almost identical to himself in terms of personality, or are the classic playful type, like Solid's Tsubasa. Still, while being typecast to these projects might have posed an issue, Saito does bring something different to each character, with all having a nuance in both their acting and singing. Let's not forget that Saito can sing as twins and make both sound unique, with only a nuance added to the voice of each one, being more than enough for each of those to sound unique. He's quite the master at pulling off tricky performances, and music composers love to push his limits on the vocal end, exactly because of that. Saito has mentioned that Ron, composer for Dear Vocalist, does seem to be increasing the difficulty of Judas songs, and he keeps on nailing those performances, unknowingly welcoming Ron to keep pushing him on the vocal end. Visual kei artists, rappers, pro singers, composers, and industry's experts all praise Saito for his singing skills and ridiculous range plus versatility. What makes him a vocal chameleon? He's shown that he's a vocal chameleon plenty of times, adapting perfectly to the song and persona given to him. Due to his versatility, at times he'll sound completely unrecognizable in some songs. His skills were developed by himself, according to Saito in an interview dating back to 2017. He used to be in a rock band when he was in middle school, as well as he used to freestyle rap with his friends and practiced singing by himself. He didn't undertake any singing lessons in his career, so everything you hear is a result of his skills and the fact that he practices a lot is singing. I've already mentioned it, but Saito has a unique, clean singing style. It is quite pleasing to listen to, as that clarity confers a dreamy twist to his performances. Then his wide vocal range that is always up to the test. Regardless if it is to perform in 3 completely vocal ranges within the same song, as part of Fling Posse, do check Utena if you can, go all out as a 4-baritone visual kei singer that nails screamo and sounds unrecognizable in MIDI code, be effortlessly sexy and playful in his tenor range as a member of Solids, perform as twins in the bubbly EDM group Twink, be the face and center of the flawless pop idol group Trigger, or be the frontman for the punk rock band Kagaribi, Saito can do it all. Worth mentioning that in both Medicode from Fly Me Project and Genesis from Yumeiro Cast, Saito is unrecognizable on the vocal end, having changed his voice tone while tapping into a different vocal range to nail the performances he had in hand. With Medicode, Saito was performing Visual Kei rock, singing in Kansai's style with rolled R's, and performing Screamo while singing in Faux baritone style. It is mind-blowing what he pulled off with that band. No other male seiyuu so far has managed to sound unrecognizable between performances, something that attests to Saito's vocal chameleon status. Vocally, he is a master of falsetto, and he has been showing that he can actually dominate head voice and sound not only powerful, but also really clean. The ability to go really high in his natural tenor range and then go really low to faux baritone, sometimes even bass, is something that stands out as he delivers performances across his wide vocal range, all with the same high quality. Whichever music genre you throw at him, he already knows its quirks and what it requires of him on the vocal end. On a live setting, he can shift between vocal ranges without an issue, and if he's really comfortable on stage, be ready for him to bring even more of his vocal range, ad-libbing his way through the songs, adding an extra flair to his performances. A unique voice, a wide vocal range, and a skill set that is impressive and yet to be fully uncovered makes Soma Saito a one-of-a-kind singer, a chameleon that 2D music projects want to get on board, because they know Soma Saito can do anything on the vocal end and will always deliver a memorable, high-quality performance. Standout performances. With a rich and varied solo career, as well as with plenty of highlights from his work with 2D music projects, it is genuinely hard to come up with standout performances because all are really good. But let's check a couple of those covering different music genres or different styles of singing. Gentaro's Utena. 3 voice tones and 2 vocal ranges. One of the hardest performances that Saito has tackled in his career so far. The verses counting with him performing low and growly, bringing forth his faux baritone range, swiftly shifting to high, clear mid-toned vocals in the chorus and then high notes in the intermission. In Utena, Saito showcases the power and consistency across 3 different voice tones and 2 vocal ranges. To top it all off, Saito is performing both melody and rapping, nailing both on record as well as on a live setting. If you want to talk about Soma Saito's impressive performances, this is a performance you should mention. Trigger with Valiant. Imposing, sexy, powerful. Saito's performance in Trigger's hit song Valiant is something else. Mixing low-tempo rap with intense technical singing is not enough to impress fans. What swept everyone off their feet was how masculine and alluring his performance ends up being. Riding on his sweet mid-tones, lower than usual for Trigger songs, while bringing his clean high notes, Saito delivers a performance to remember. Solids with Liar Crier. Solids is known for being a group all about risque lyrics, sexy performances, and an intense, passionate sound that covers rock, pop, EDM, jazz, and even minimalistic electronica. However, in 2016, the group tried to perform something completely outside of its comfort range. A song in the style of Growth. What happened was something that left everyone with their mouths ajar. Liar Crier is a song led by the tenors in the group, Soma Saito and Natsuki Hanae, and what easily stands out is how in sync both are. Saito, being the high tenor out of both, harmonizes with Hanae in a way that the end result is a performance so ethereal, so dreamy, and so delicate that it makes goosebumps all over. The power in those harmonies, the beautiful high notes in the pitch vocals, the flourishes as Saito rises on his vocal scale is something that keeps on impressing after all these years. More than a song about how Saito leads the way, this is one that showcases how he is as a team player within a group and how heavenly his vocals sound, harmonizing in complete sync with other singers. Kagaribi with Sayai. There is something about Soma Saito's voice in recent years that has made him sound naturally lower in his tenor range, and in Sayai, sung by Kagaribi, band in the Dear Vocalist franchise, Saito shows his matured vocals. He's performing in the low tenor range, bringing forth a bit of faux baritone for the first part of the verses, but quickly shifting to his natural tenor vocals while cranking up the intensity. It's almost as if he is screaming for someone, although his vocals are quite contained themselves. The emotional range in this performance is quite impressive, with Saito bringing love and longing into this exciting pop rock tune. Medicode with Karma. This is the performance that made a lot of people turn their heads to Soma Saito. Visual Kei rock is known for being a music genre in which theatricality is strong. You want drama, power, emotions under your skin, aggression and poise at all times. In 2015, when Saito was still an underrated seiyuu that very few people knew about, Medicode made its debut in the original 2D Visual Kei rock project, Fly Me Project. He took upon himself vocal duties for the band, performing in the original faux baritone style that is a classic among Visual Kei artists. He had to learn the singing style with the Kansai rolled R's and, surprise surprise, even Screamo. This was a performance that impressed many and even got Saito compliments from Visual Kei artists due to how fast and natural he had taken their faux baritone style and made it his. What you get is one hell of an outstanding performance that pushed his vocals to the limit, showing that Saito was an immensely talented singer. Takuma Haiba with Kodoku no Shiru ni Furu Ameyo. While it is rare for Saito to perform as a faux baritone for Genesis in the Yumeiro Cast franchise, he was a full-time baritone for the group, bringing a growly edge to their performances, showcasing awesome teamwork with Makoto Furukawa as the resident baritones. However, for Takuma Haiba's solo track, fans of the character and of Saito found something really sweet and refreshing. Saito was performing an R&B ballad fully in faux baritone range. It is as sweet as you can imagine. It is as passionate as you can imagine. And throughout the performance, Soma Saito never misses a beat. His voice never wavers. His faux baritone tone sounds natural and steady. This performance is both a showcase of Soma Saito's vocal range and how comfortable he is tapping into parts of it that you'd deem impossible to tap into, as well as a good reminder that Saito's sweet vocals do fit emotional ballads and deliver quite the blow to your feelings. Soma Saito with Isana. There are performances that leave lasting marks. There are songs that will forever haunt you, put you in a weird place, or downright make you cry over and over again. The performance in Isana is quite easily one of the most impressive in Soma Saito's solo repertoire. It is a scream for help, a goodbye, the end. The solemn sound, the sound of water as it drowns you, and then the low, somber vocals by Soma Saito take you on a trip that is unheard of among male seiyuu. It is haunting, deeply personal, downright depressing. And Saito's performance effortlessly embraces those feelings, amplifies those to the maximum while delivering those in a dreamy, distant fashion. There is something about this song and performance that will never leave the minds of the people that listen to it. It's that masterful. These were just some out of the many songs that Soma Saito has performed and showcased his range and/or his singing skills. There are plenty more songs you can check. For that, I welcome you to check handthatfeedshq.com for reviews and insights on Soma Saito's performances with both 2D groups as well as a solo artist. When it comes to vocal chameleon, Soma Saito has to always be in the conversation. It is quite amazing to see how far he has come from someone lacking confidence and having shaky performances to one of the best singers among male seiyuu. From not being able to distinguish his performances for 2D groups and his solo career, to now having completely different things going on for each character, plus having a solo career that sounds nothing like what he does for 2D groups and that no other seiyuu artist dares copying. From not having vibrato to now having not only vibrato, but also having a powerful head voice in his skill set. With a wide vocal range, an insane amount of control, the ability to voice any kind of character and have each one with a distinct quirk and style, and having the clearest singing voice among male seiyuu, Soma Saito has pointed to the top and made sure to be one of the best. To be a chameleon that everyone wants for their projects. To be considered reliable and desirable for any 2D music project. To be praised left and right by press, fellow seiyuu, and fans alike for how outstanding his performances are and how different he can sound across all of those without losing quality. Soma Saito is indeed a unique vocal chameleon. Now tell me, what do you enjoy about Soma Saito's singing skills, and is there a performance of his that impressed you? Let me know in the comments on YouTube. And remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male seiyuu and music-related content. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.